Hello. Just wanted to have a discussion about Epsom salt baths and the dangers of taking baths in general in the American system. So, Epsom salt baths are not dangerous in and of themselves. They actually do help the water. The Epsom salt does help the water. They're finding out that there's more than over 100 contaminants in the typical bath water systems, from fluorine to chloramine, which is much more assimilatable. Much more penetrates much faster in the water system than even chlorine. And so they started using it. They said it was to clean the pipes or whatever, but now we have this in our systems. So fluorine, chlorine, many different forms of perchlorate and other types of chlorated, compounds. You also have radon 228, sometimes radioactive 131 iodine. These are found, so there's radioactive elements in there. We're also finding endocrine disruptors, which are not filtered through any municipal water systems, which are basically going undetected, unlooked for, or even part of the typical testing mechanism. And so these are in the water supply, not to mention all the medicines from the pill and everything else that's thrown down into the sinks, and all of the chemicals we use, everything we have under our sink. I have like bleach and maybe, some white vinegar and a few, what do you call it? Baking powder, baking soda or something, this is pretty much all I have, but people have a lot of stuff, and and it's all going down into the water supply at some point, pieces and chemicals and particles and etc. So all this is back into the bath water to a certain degree, so the bath water is totally infected and contaminated, and especially for children and infants. It goes straight in, whereas an adult may have a more or less permeable structure, but still, limiting exposure is still going to be the key factor. It's all cumulative. So the best way to go about this is to not use the bath in general. And I know that sounds like a bummer or whatever, but there's another way to do this. I bought like a little small, sit-in kind of infrared sauna with actual heat sauna. You can adapt it to infrared or to heat. And so I can sit in that and just like get that fascia detox, fascia kind of relaxation feel. My body's like, and then the sweating, and then it's like calming and just light sweating, but it's just a calming kind of feel. And that can be positive. There's also a place in my neighborhood here in Los Angeles that, it's like $40, and you can go do a dry sauna, wet sauna kind of combination, rinse, and then come out. And so, like cold water, like freezing cold kind of rinse and come out. And this is pretty cool too, because this is, whenever you start feeling under the weather or something, you can use these services every so often and push it out without having to take all these baths all the time. So I feel like baths will probably not take it as much in the future in the American system until we fix the problem, because it's going to get worse and worse as long as we have no consciousness around it. So that doesn't mean that like an occasional, I take cold showers, quick ones, and not frantically quick, and not like, not making this into an obsession, but at the same time, I just limit my exposure, I don't shower every 5 minutes. I shower not even once a day. But unless I'm playing basketball or I'm doing something or whatever. And then, it's a short cold shower for me. Sometimes I start with heat and then turn it cold at the end. This closes the pores. This allows for less absorption. And then I also like the effect that it has. It actually warms my body. But some people with a more frail frame, maybe just a little hot shower, a short one or whatever. But just not to overdo it with the bath system. Really the bath is the worst, because when you're in a bath, the molecular weight of the water helps it. It's part of the mechanism which helps it absorb things into the system. And so whether this was calculated or not by the people putting these toxins and everything, I don't know. But I like to get outside of their math if possible. And so anyway, and then there's no vapor with the cold water as well. But so yeah, that's the real reason that baths of Epsom salt, baths should not be taken. They do help the bath water. I do agree that, like, if you were to buy like Celtic sea salt and these huge bags that you can order online, it's kind of wet gray kind of stuff. This stuff has natural iodine in it. It pulls things out. Clay baths, they all do that. They're all trying to pull that stuff out and protect you from the bad water that's in there. And if there's any left over, maybe pull some things out of your skin, help you detox a little bit of magnesium sulfate, which is what the Epsom salts are, and whatever. Now, they're not like they used to be from this region or area, this kind of Epsom developed like kind of old stone that you would use and that would be great for baths. No, this is all made today. This is all using, chemicals and solvent extraction from certain forms of chalk and whatever in the layer underneath the gypsum, near the gypsum layer of the Earth's crust. And so they are using this, for bath systems. Now, that's the only thing that Americans understand as far as transdermal magnesium is Epsom. That's the one thing that's closest to them. Now, in Europe, they kind of get it a little faster only because they have the Roman and Greek antiquity of the thalasso, bath culture, spa, Roman culture, all of this kind of mineral-rich water culture that they remember. And so when you have something like transdermal magnesium like this here in the blue bottle, it makes it people pick it up a little faster there just because they're closer to that tradition. Now, America has to come down to that too. So we're trying to get back to that where we can bring a magnesium in through the body, through the skin, which is a much more intelligent system for it. It was made for it, and it actually has many historical antecedents going all the way back to even Asia and the mining for bischofite, or what we call bischofite, which is this stone. They were able to find areas that had this soft stone, and they could mix it with water, and it would become this kind of like dry oil feel, and then they would put it on for healing, and so it became a medicine. The Spartans would do the same with the waters of magnesia, these little rock slits where they were able to get a more concentrated form of it and use it for their muscles and legs and everything else. They knew it, and so we're just getting back to that knowledge and wisdom. So Epsom salts are not the way to go for magnesium recharge. That's ridiculous. I mean, it's an exudative process. You're sweating. This is coming out. This is just getting on the level of the skin, helping the skin, which is a reflection of the liver as well, detoxify, helping the skin detoxify some of the surface things which have made it to the surface of the skin already. So this is not a way to recharge magnesium levels. Not only is the magnesium not of a high quality, which the chalk they use for Epsom, this type of substrate, I guess you could say, is typically contaminated with, not contaminated, I don't know if that's the right word, but more like conjugated with potassium and sometimes heavy metals and things. And these have to be removed and separated, which is called upgrading. And so they have to upgrade everything, and then they sell it off as this base magnesium sulfate product or whatever. So we don't want that. We want the real deal. This is from natural bischofite stone, which is a soft stone, which is almost transparent. And you just, in contact with water, it dissolves into a dry oil, and a viscous dry oil. And this is exactly what's in the bottle. There's only one ingredient in the bottle. I mean, there's 20 so oligo elements, but it's all part of the brine, which is the one ingredient. And so that's the right way to bring magnesium into the body, because you get the full spectrum. Whenever you have something which has been refined, solvent extracted, and twisted in that way and transformed, what happens is you pull molecularly, you take something and it has all these things attached to it. So you have to pull all those things off of it. It leaves it with like a less sticky molecule, you could say. Not sticky to the texture, but sticky molecule. And so the molecule can't pull out toxins as well. So when it's in its natural state, it naturally will pull out the toxins. There's over 800 studies on magnesium, 30% of which deal with the word chelation. So that's what this is doing in the body. Magnesium is coming in, not just healing deficiency, but also it's a chelative detoxifier. It comes in and pulls acid residues, which cause aging, cramps, muscle pains, etc., toxins, endocrine disruptors, heavy metals. It pulls these all out of the body and through the sweat glands or other emunctories or whatever. And so it will get it out, and that's what its goal is. So if you get the cheap stuff, you usually get a low spectrum version of this, which may heal some of the magnesium deficiency, but you're not getting the full spectrum detox. You're not getting all that out of there. And then on top of that, it's coming sold in these cheap plastic bottles. It's usually solvent extracted from Asia and remarketed as USP, as Zechstein even. They can even use the word Zechstein to make you believe it's coming from some Permian era or epoch or something. And so it can't be legally protected, these epochs, right? So you could say Permian, Zechstein, ancient, whatever you want. But if it doesn't have the Zechstein inside logo with the trademark on it, then it's not coming from the Zechstein. That is the real and only source in Holland, in the city of Vindam, which you can look up and you can actually call them. Nobody else will let you call their source where they actually get anything from. You know, like they're just like, well, you just have to trust us on that. So, like, we put it all in writing and no one else will. So, because it's the real deal and there's only one of them. And so it's an enormous discovery. It's not something that's going to run out. It's 1,000 years of magnesium discovered under the foot of Scandinavia and Holland and, well, the North Sea, I guess you could say. And it's an enormous block. And so we have as much of it as we need. We just have to help people to understand it. So don't use Epsom salt to heal your magnesium problems or deficiencies, and try to stay away from bath water and use it in the right way, like where you can go directly to the skin. And don't try to seek out creams and gels and flakes and all these other ways. These are all derivatives of the original product. They all have had to go through transformation, high heating, high hydrochloric acid producing techniques, which have created more problems for the assimilation of the magnesium. So you want the original state raw product. That's what you want, and it's high dose. You don't want, even when a lot of these companies, they dilute with water, and then what happens is the molecular weight of the product is not heavy enough to bring it into the skin. So we need to keep things as they are, as nature intended. And this is the way forward to heal the magnesium deficiency, which is coming from the soil deficiency. It's a deficiency that no one's genes or anything else can overcome. It's a reality. Realities cannot just be overcome like that. They have to be understood, and then we have to find, heal, fix, or whatever. We have to fix that. So come check us out at theheartoftradition.com. We are in glass bottles. We do the right thing. It's only $3 a week. The other guys might sell you stuff for $2 for a month, or I don't know. But once you get it to $3 a week and it's the right thing, do the right thing. Don't go cheap on this exact area of your health. You know, on the biggest deficiencies in the world, vitamin D, and magnesium. These two are the biggest two deficiencies. Don't go cheap. Do it right. Molecular game changer whenever this stuff has not been solvent extracted. 800 processes in the human body. Do it right. Come check us out at theheartoftradition.com.